back to my channel. Got another video today. Today I'm going to talk about the prison guards and the prison staff at a camp and how it's so different from the penitentiaries. And maybe you guys can take a walk with me. This is my little neighborhood where I live out here. That's my little car behind me. I paid $1,800 for it. It's 20 years old, and my first job out of prison. I saved up a couple paychecks, and I got that car. It's still running. Had it about a year now. So in prison, taking a walk around the track in all the prisons is pretty much a normal thing. It's hard to find places to be alone while you're in prison. So I'm on this block here, so in case I see somebody, I gotta cover up. And there's always people on this block, and there's always people in prison. Wherever you go, somebody's gonna hear what you say. Wherever you go. There's a little park down here. Sometimes there's people in it, sometimes there's not. I want to cross the street here. And so about the prison guards, they're also called COs. CO stands for Correctional Officer. Oh, here's a little spot by a tree. I think I'll sit right here. Yeah, this works. I see a lady walking down the street, but well, this looks like a good spot. So if I can hold this thing up and talk. So there's different kinds of staff at a prison camp. You got your medical staff, you got your administration staff, you got your teachers, your instructors, your pastors, your chaplains, and you got your regular prison guard, your correctional officers. It's getting loud here. And when it comes to correctional officers, there's different kinds of those. You got your old timers, your career guys, ones getting ready to retire. You got the new ones coming in right out of high school, it seems like. They used to parade them around the camp. The first place they want to show them is a safe prison. Camps are safe. You know, in a penitentiary, it seems like it's the inmates or the convicts against the guards. And the guards don't feel safe in a penitentiary. And like in a camp, you're safe. You're safe from the other inmates. You're safe from the convicts who work their way down from the penitentiaries that are in a camp now because they want to go home. They finally got an out date. But in a penitentiary, man, those guards fear for their life every day. And if you've seen the news, some riots going on in jails, and you see these prison riot movies and stuff, and uh-oh, somebody's coming up behind me. No? Anyways, a little paranoid, no, still. It's hard to find a place to be alone. Anyways, when the guards work at a camp, they feel safe. For the most part, they feel safe. The people the guards got to watch out for is probably the convicts that came from the penitentiary to work their way down that still haven't realized that there's a civilized world out there, and they're about to be part of it. There's a lot of guys from the penitentiary hate being out of camp. It's like I've said in countless videos I've made, we don't have politics like they do in the penitentiary. You don't got to show your paperwork. You don't got to join a car or a gang. You can hang out with other races. You can eat off the same plate as another race. Although, who wants to really do that? But if a black guy offers me a piece of cake and I reach over and I take it, I'm safe. I mean, there might be a couple people, why'd you do that? But it's nothing like in a penitentiary. And it's the same thing with the guards. So, the COs. So most of them treat us with dignity, a little bit of kindness. Some actually care. Some believe in second chances. Then you got the COs that are transferred over from penitentiaries, and they still haven't realized that they're safe, and that so we're called campers in a camp. And we're treated like regular people. We work alongside of them, all kinds of jobs. You'd be surprised they have jobs where inmates have chainsaws and, whole tool sets and, We drive cars, they drive tractors, they drive bulldozers, they drive dump trucks. They go in and out to town. We have jobs where we pick people up in vans and take them to the bus stations when they're getting released. There are inmates that'll take you to the hospital with no guards around whatsoever, no handcuffs or nothing. They just throw the keys to a car to an inmate. It's amazing. And so the campers, so there's about 110 federal prisons in the country, and most of them have a little adjacent satellite camp next to them. Some are standalone camps. I think there's maybe 10 of those. But most of the big facilities have a camp next to them because they use the campers as workers. And it's getting a little too loud here. I mean, I don't know if you can see it. Man, these people just won't stop walking by. I feel like I'm in prison again. You know what? When you want some privacy in prison, you want to talk to somebody. Like, hey man, can I talk to you, man? Something's going on, and I need to talk to you. It's hard to find a place alone to talk. Although I had my little spot out by the track, the baseball field. Since we don't have any fences, you can walk so far till the sign says out of bounds. And there was these rocks, maybe 100 feet from the highway, and I think it was Highway 50. And I used to bring my guitar out there, and I'd face the road, and I could see the people in the car. I could make out their face, and I'm sitting there playing and singing guitar. And I was not in prison. That was my escape. But then somebody always wants to come up to me, and people want to come up, maybe listen to hear me play a song and stuff. And that was okay, but I also needed my space. Space is very important in prison. It's hard to get. And back to the guards. So when I left prison after my 52-month sentence, I said this in another video, I think there's about 20 guards that I'd got to know. Half of them came up to me and with concern in their heart, and they were really serious. They told me don't come back. They told me that I was a good guy. Don't make the same mistakes. We don't want to see you back. You know, you're a hard worker. And do something with your life. And they meant it. And the other 10, I went up to them and thanked them for the way they treated me like a human being. You know, just like a regular person. Made me feel that I wasn't a piece of shit and I wasn't a scumbag. And, now there are some COs that are transferred from the mediums and the penitentiaries, and maybe they're filling in for somebody who calls in sick at a camp, and they're taking overtime shifts, or sometimes they're transferred, and those guys come with this penitentiary hardcore attitude where they don't care if we're campers. To them, we're scum, we're inmates, we're pieces of shit. But even they change after they've been there a while. Let me tell you a little. Should I tell you this? Well, this guard's retired, so I don't think I could get him in trouble. So I had a job at the Supermax, as I said in my videos, and I worked in food service. But one day, the storm drain in we had a little break area outside patio, outside of the cafe where I also was in the culinary school over there. And there was this little outdoor cafe inside of the ADX Supermax, but it had a big storm drain. And they need storm drains in Colorado, because in the high desert, because you get these flash floods and the water just fills up. If you didn't have a storm drain, the water would fill up 2 feet tall. And here comes the lady. So anyways, we had to clean the storm drain out, and so we had to go outside of the fence and go in. There's follow where the storm drain came out into the open, and so anyways, I just don't like talking when there's somebody right next to me. Man, go away, people. Anyways, I want to talk about prison in front of these strangers walking by me, but oh well. Anyways, so spent all day cleaning out this storm drain. I had to actually crawl up in it, and I was covered with mud. And I was just there with this one guard who was about to retire anyways. And this guard must have smoked 2 packs of cigarettes a day. He was always smoking. He'll smoke right next to you and everything. He didn't care. But when I crawled out of that storm drain and I was covered in mud and I got the last of the leaves and the nasty shit out of there, he goes, "Here, I think you could use this." And he hands me a cigarette. And I took it, and he lit me up. We both sat there and had a cigarette with him. And I said, hey man, this is don't worry, this doesn't go any further than here. And he goes, I know. And I've never said anything till this day, and I never did. And a lot of those guards, you sit there and you do jobs like that, and you talk to them like a coworker on a construction site or something, or in a restaurant. And I used to work next to all these prison guards at the ADX Supermax, working on the food chain line, making trays for all the inmates inside, and we talk. We tell stories about their family, and about their life, what their date. One lady had a blind date last night, and she tell us about that, and another guy talk about his daughter graduating from high school, and drama that goes on in their lives, and we talk about ours, and we get to know them, and they get to know us, and this goes on every day. And you'll see inmates hanging out in staff's offices, 2 or 3 of them just shooting the breeze. If that happened in a penitentiary, those guys would be waiting outside the office, the other inmates, and when you came out, they would shank you because they figured you're in there snitching or something. But in a camp, we don't have any fences. We're non-violent people. We're just regular kind of guys going to prison. That's why the inmates that come from the penitentiaries and work their way down have a tough time at a camp. There is no gangs and cars. There kind of is with the Pices. They run all the things that come in and out. And in a camp we don't have fences, so you can imagine with no fence, you can pretty much bring whatever you want into a camp, and you don't need a guard to smuggle nothing in. That we just don't need the guards for that. So in the penitentiary, I don't know, the pressure put on us guards, and here's $5,000, bring me in a cell phone. Nothing like that happens in the camp. You want a cell phone, you can walk to the store and buy one practically and come back before count. And it's been done. But people get caught in the camp by the guards for cell phones, and they'll throw you in the shoe, and sometimes they'll take away your good time. Sometimes they'll transfer you to a low. Guards know what goes on. They don't like cell phones at all, so if you're going to prison, stay away from the cell phones. Now, my thing was cigarettes. So I just did a video yesterday about all the bathrooms. There's 8 different bathrooms in both of the buildings. One of the bathrooms always a designated smoking area. And sometimes guards would come in there, catch you smoking. Most of the time they give you extra duty, which means for like the next week you're outside pulling weeds on your free time. There was one guard that made us do 20 push-ups. The other guy would say, just clean the bathroom. One guy would walk in there and he goes, I gotcha, ha ha ha. And he'd get off on scaring you with the cigarette. But once in a while you get a guard from the penitentiary that's working there on his day off, covering overtime. And he'll write you up and take away your good time. There's always that chance. But most of the guards smoke themselves. They understand and they know how hard it is. I don't know why you can't smoke in prison, at least outside. You used to be able to. When these guys riot and you see on TV all these riots, they want better food, they want better conditions, all this stuff, hunger strikes. Why don't they ask to have the cigarettes come back? Just let the inmates smoke outside, We could live with that. Why take that away? That was the one thing, that was really hard to quit smoking. And although I didn't, but, cigarettes in a penitentiary, it costs you $20 for a Marlboro cigarette, if you can get one. In a camp, they're $2 or $3 for one Marlboro cigarette. You can buy a pack for $40. And I shouldn't be saying this, but everybody knows this. This is not information it's not public information, but it's public information. Anybody who works at a camp or has done time in a camp knows how that goes. So that was my little thing, and I never got caught. Well, one time I had to do 20 push-ups. I did get caught once, and 20 push-ups for me wasn't that easy, but I did it. But I just want to tell you guys, I had nothing but respect for those guards in there. I talk to them like I do any kind of coworker, my boss, anything like that. They treated me with dignity, treated me with respect, treated me like a human being, and like I said, I said goodbye to 20 different ones when I left, and they were all pretty much good guys, so they treat campers different. They just treat us different. So if you go in there with the attitude that these guards and these staff and administration people and all that are just regular people looking at you like, you know, you did your white collar crime, you got caught dealing drugs, but you're nonviolent, and you just treat them back with respect, you won't have any problems. But you're not there to make friends with them, and they know that. And you know, but if I went to a bar in Colorado and I found the bar that all the COs and prison staff hang out at after work, I think I'd buy them all a drink for the way they treated me. I really would, and I wouldn't want anything in return. So that's my experience with the prison guards and the prison staff at a prison camp. Thanks, guys.